The biggest AI company, OpenAI, and Microsoft, the biggest company in the world, have a very strange relationship that is maybe about to implode. The context here is that OpenAI is, in theory, rumors, going to release GPT-5 in a couple weeks.
They've been saying that.
They've been saying that for a while. So that's the most recent rumors. It hasn't been fully confirmed.
Okay.
But in theory, they're going to drop the big new model, GPT-5. Right now, we're on GPT 4.5, arguably. There's all these different fractional things. To the average person who isn't super into the AI stuff, you probably don't give a shit, right? The GPT-5 coming out doesn't really affect your life. ChatGPT will be like a little bit smarter in these ways.
Well, it's worth saying, Sam Altman, he does this every time, but he has been on a little bit of a press tour saying that he is scared of GPT-5. It's so good, it's scary.
This leads into it.
Okay, perfect. Okay.
So why would you give a shit if GPT-5 is a little bit better, right? Most people are probably like, okay, there's 100 new models every month. Who cares? Well, there's a very interesting thing between OpenAI and Microsoft. OpenAI started, again, they make ChatGPT 10 years ago, 2015, before the internet craze, or before the internet craze. Back then, it's just a scrappy little group of AI researchers. They're like, we want to try to make like crazy AI stuff. They even got investment from Elon Musk, and they called it OpenAI because they were going to be open about it, and it's a non-profit. They're like, we're not trying to make money.
And they 1v1'd Dendy and Dota with
they were the Dota guys. Yeah, they did the Dota stuff. Yeah.
So early on, they made a Dota bot basically using these AI concepts and training, and that was like a cool little test thing that they did.
I was there in person for that.
Really?
Yeah.
That's sick.
Damn. So for a couple
You
of
could have
years,
stopped this.
Yeah.
You could have stopped the Terminator, bro.
So this is, if you guys remember 10 years ago or 8 years ago, this is how most people thought of AI. It's like, oh, that's funny. Somebody made a chess AI or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But they start getting smarter and smarter. In 2018, this big paper comes out on Transformers. The AI craze as we currently know it with large language models kicks off. And they start developing this GPT models in earnest and start to really get some traction. Most people don't know about it yet. But in 2019, they are like, okay, we're starting to get something here. And they go to Microsoft and they say, look, we need to raise a lot of money. The problem is they're still a nonprofit, so they can't really do that. And so they then split from not just a nonprofit, it's a nonprofit who owns a for-profit company. And the for-profit company is able to raise investment dollars from Microsoft at like capped return. So it's like, hey, Microsoft, you won't make a ton of money if you invest with us, but you can actually make some. And in return, Microsoft gives them $1 billion. That doesn't sound that crazy because we talk about big numbers all the time. It's a crazy amount of money for any company, particularly a small research lab. And the thinking was they were going, look, we thought this would be this cute little nonprofit thing at the beginning, but it is now becoming clear that these models need a crazy amount of computation power. We need a ton of money to throw at the problem. We're going to start feeding all the data on the internet into it, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. So Microsoft agrees, but there's some weirdness here because Microsoft needs to put a ton of money into a very early company with this like moonshot idea nobody knows is real. So a couple things go back and forth. Microsoft will get a profit return, right? So that's pretty standard. They also get access to the IP. So if OpenAI develops any AI, Microsoft gets it. Microsoft is the only company still to this day, this has continued since, that has access to the actual like mechanics of what OpenAI and ChatGPT does. Nobody else can do that. They also get to run their products like ChatGPT on their own servers. So you can go to ChatGPT and buy stuff there, but you can also go buy the same services on Microsoft. Yes.
Remember when we talked about open source models versus closed source models, and we were talking about DeepSeek? So they basically have the access that everyone has to something like DeepSeek, but for ChatGPT, and they're the only people that have that.
So OpenAI has been developing this thing, and Microsoft's the only one who gets access to it. Every few months when OpenAI releases some crazy new thing, Microsoft has access to it, and they get to incorporate it into all of their products. So Microsoft makes this big gamble. They're like, we are going to put more money in. We're going to put all this money into OpenAI. It's still early, put $1 billion, but with this gamble that if this goes really well, we have access to your stuff behind the scenes. We're going to grow our businesses together. And that's a kind of big risk for a big tech company rather than doing it in-house. And this all sounds, pretty decent, except they add something called the clause. And this is where it gets really weird. So OpenAI convinces Microsoft to put a clause in the contract that says, if we, OpenAI, create artificial general intelligence, we create an AI that's like as intelligent as a person, the contract is null and void. You no longer get access to any of our stuff. It's only ours now. That is an insane thing for an investor. If you are a company offering $1 billion and they're like, hey, we're partners, you get access to everything up until we make something that's really awesome, then we take it away and you get nothing. That's fucking crazy. And this is in the contract that they've had. This is called the clause. Now you might wonder, what does that mean? That's the point. Nobody knows what that means. AGI doesn't mean anything. It means artificial general intelligence, and every single tech company has a different idea of what that actually means.
It's like if Microsoft was edging and they want to get they can edge closer and closer and closer.
Yeah.
But if they get over the hump,
if
ChatGPT gets over the hump, it's game over.
It's not like that.
So,
but getting over the hump is not well defined.
No.
Right. The hump.
I'm putting a lot of legwork in for my analogy here.
So far, they have not climaxed, and we don't know if or when they will.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you. Okay.
You might have heard people talk about artificial general intelligence. The funny thing about it is everybody has their own definition. For some people, it means you've created a god being that's as smart as humans. For some people, it's like, well, they're just better than a PhD student. For some people, it provides a certain amount of economic value. Maybe it's like you run certain businesses. Maybe it's like can replace a human at any job. Maybe it's only at math jobs. Maybe it's only at manufacturing jobs. Everybody has a different definition. And the problem with everybody having a different definition is that two of the biggest tech companies have a contract that says one of them gets to bail and take everything if they achieve AGI, which neither of them defined. So that contract and that clause has existed since then. Both companies have continued to grow massively. OpenAI is becoming bigger and bigger. ChatGPT is now the biggest AI product in the world. It's arguably one of the most influential things in the world. They are the big dominant AI company, and Microsoft is their partner. They've invested like $14 billion at this point. They're a 49% stakeholder. And at any point, if OpenAI comes out and says, we did it, we made the super smart AI, we did it, they get to cut the contract and run. That's crazy. And so Microsoft is very concerned that they're going to come out and do this. And in fact, both CEOs are saying different things in the press tour. Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, says, oh, there's a great quote. He's like, us claiming some AGI milestone, that's just nonsensical benchmark hacking. So he's trying to say, like, look, AGIs, that's just a concept. Meanwhile, Sam Altman is like, yeah, we think we're getting close. It's within the next couple years. And internally, there was a memo leaked at OpenAI where they defined clearly what it is. And it basically means an AI can manage an organization, which is not like that far off. Right. So they're both trying to pin the target so they can bail from the it's crazy.
It can manage the vending machine.
So they can manage the vending machine. And that's what and so even crazier, and then we'll cap it off. Right now, OpenAI is having a problem because when they spun it into a for-profit company, that was still limited. They're now trying to turn it into a full for-profit public benefit corporation. They're trying to turn it into a corporation so they can give their employees stock, so they can raise more money from things like SoftBank. They think this is vital to them being able to survive. Microsoft can block them from doing that. So OpenAI wants to turn into a for-profit company so they can expand even more. Microsoft can stop them and is saying, you can't do that. We're not going to give you approval until you get this fucking clause out of our contract that says you guys can run and bail. All of this might climax. We might finish edging in the next month when they release GPT-5, which, as you said, Sam Altman is going around being like, it scares me. I couldn't believe, I felt useless as a human. He's saying things like this publicly because Microsoft is like, oh shit, are they going to drop, in quotes, AGI?
Yeah, there's two things I want to say about this. Number one is Sam Altman video, if you could play the one at the bottom. This is Sam Altman. He's a sharp character. He knows what he's doing, bro. He's been in this plan for a while.
The press tour being like, I'm scared of this. Like, it's crazy.
It's AGI.
And then the other guy being like, it's actually dog shit. It's actually not even that good.
What the fuck are you talking about, AGI?
This is an iconic thing of Sam Altman being grilled by Congress where they ask him, do you have any shares in this thing? Like, are you doing this for money?
You make a lot of money, do you?
No. I paid enough for health insurance. I have no equity in OpenAI.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. You need a lawyer.
I need a what?
You need a lawyer or an agent.
I'm doing this because I love it.
Yeah, so that was a really nice thing to say. He didn't have any equity in the non-profit form of OpenAI. However, he's about to have a ton of equity in the for-profit spinoff that they're making to actually manage the whole thing. And he's going to become a massively successful billionaire after this all is through. So I thought that was a little bit of a funny thing. Secondly is this article that just came out 8 hours ago. Microsoft in talks to maintain access to OpenAI's tech beyond AGI milestones.
Oh, damn. Okay, this is
so exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
They are in deep negotiations right now. As you've said, Satya Nadella is very focused on getting this clause the fuck out because having this key man risk where someone says we have AGI and you lose your $300 billion valuation investment is...
It's not
it
just
would tank Microsoft stock. It would be
It's not just that. Like all the AI companies, our entire stock market as a country is based off of big tech jerking each other off about how AI is going to make everybody trillions of dollars. That's the current state.
Edging metaphor.
Yes, that's what's going on. Microsoft is at the head of that. I believe still they're the most valuable company in the world, right?
No, Nvidia.
Okay, they got bought. Anyway, but they're up there, right? And they briefly were the most valuable again.
Microsoft's the goon commander.
I've been saying.
Their valuation is, like the other companies, largely propped up by the AI concept of them saying, we're going to put AI into all of our products and everything's going to get way bigger. I don't really think that's necessarily going to happen, but if they suddenly lost access to the company that is supplying the AI models that is propping up this entire concept, this entire pitch, they're going to tank. This is a huge deal for Microsoft.
Yeah, it's just funny that OpenAI went from like, this is a pure nonprofit to get us to AGI safely, to we're a for-profit spin-off that is managed by the nonprofit. And that's because we have to make some money, but it's all for this planet. And then it's just going to be a for-profit company.
Technically, it will still be owned by. So they tried to do that.
Yeah.
They received pushback. Basically, it turns out legally the states were not going to allow them to just turn their nonprofit into a for-profit. So the now attempt that they're trying to do is to keep the nonprofit with ownership of the for-profit, but the for-profit becomes a proper corporation with shares.
Yeah, but has all the right, like owns the IP now instead of.
Yes, but the nonprofit would have control, like can set the board of directors and veto things.
They
still have a lot of control, but it's been a pretty blatant shift towards profitability.
Yeah.
Maybe this is what you're talking about when there was a group of people on the board of OpenAI. The original group of people had labeled themselves primarily as ethical altruists, like Sam Bankman-Fried. And they had a different outlook of the company. Wasn't there already a power grab within the company and change of the board in order to transition it to a private company?
No, there was an attempted, I don't know if you call it power grab, but they tried to force Sam Altman out. They kicked him out as CEO. They said he was a liar. And they said he was trying to make things into not what they agreed on as their mission.
Yeah.
And all of the employees revolted because they want their stock to be worth something. So everyone said, we're just going to leave if this goes through. And so they brought Sam Altman back and everything went back.
But through all of that, it remained a nonprofit.
Yes.
Actually, because of that, I think is why they got the AGI clause. I think that was like the one thing that
No.
Really? Okay.
That started 2019.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a long time. So yeah, there's a weird history, and basically Sam Altman as the CEO has kind of like gotten control. And it's funny because like Elon Musk, if you enjoy following him on Twitter, every few days he'll be like "Scam Altman" and just tweet something about what Sam Altman has done. He is like super pissed.
He's so mad.
Yeah, because Elon, again, at the very beginning of this in 2015, when it's a little scrappy research company, to Elon's credit, for a long time, he's talked about the importance of AI regulation and the necessity for it to be like open and safe. So he invested, I forget how much, but at least millions of dollars into the original OpenAI. And
it was like 100 million, wasn't it? It was something crazy.
The first 100 million. Actually, I think he promised 100 million and didn't give it all.
Didn't give it.
Yeah.
But he did give money for free. The thing is, my understanding of the story is that Elon Musk puts this money in, and then as it's growing after the Dota stuff, he's like, I need to have sole control.
Right. Yeah.
And then they were like,
he's not
no.
even.
He saw Dendy lose that 1v1 mid, and he's like, this is getting out of hand.
Everybody involved with the story is not right, to be honest.
They have their own incentives, and they all pretend they don't, but it's all comes back to money.
$45 million? Whoa, that is way more than I thought, is what Musk put into it, apparently. So yeah, he put into that being like, it's going to be this open source thing. And they are one of the most closed source AI companies out there. Nobody has any access to it except for Microsoft right now, asterisk.
Yeah, so there's a bit of a war there. And now they're both competing to see who can give Jensen Huang more money every day.
Yeah. It's so weird to put a clause like that, to be like, hey, if the spooky ghost shows up, it's all canceled.
Well, I think, it's weird. I feel like as a society, we've given up on regulating it in just 1 year. But in the crazy before times of 2019, it was like, one day we'll have AGI. We need to be ready for that. We need to be prepared. It needs to be not for profit. It needs to be. But now everyone's like, I like ChatGPT. They're going to make money. I feel like society has already given up on the fact that anyone will slow down at all for any reason. The drama is crazy. It was wild when the CEO of Twitch was OpenAI CEO for 2 days.
During the drama when Sam Altman got ousted very briefly, because again, the board was like, you're a lying scumbag. We don't want you leading the company anymore. Emmett Shear got installed as a new CEO.
Of Twitch.
Imagine that stuck and it's been OpenAI under Emmett Shear this whole time.
ChatGPT was about Hearthstone for nonstop.
I mean, the company would have failed rapidly.
Yeah. People didn't like him.
Funny stuff.